Joining us tonight, Jason Chaffetz, former Republican congressman from Utah, Fox Business contributor, and author of the terrific book, The Deep State. Great to have you with us. Let's, look at that market taking off despite everything. The saw on Wall Street is that the market hates uncertainty. I can't imagine much more uncertainty unless we were absolutely involved in a war or something of that order. This market seems to be inspired by tension and uncertainty and some level of conflict, whether it be economic or political.
Well, I think the market also understands that it's only about 6 or 7% of the government that's actually closed. Remember, 75% of the government is automatic programmatic spending. Of the remaining 25%, 75% of that continues to be open. And the normal pinch points on a wall and a shutdown are usually with veterans, DOD, military pay. And again, all of that is flowing as well.
Does it look to you as though the president let's deal first with the government shutdown. Does it look to you as though the president is going to have to leave the government shutdown, this partial shutdown go on for some time in order to prevail against an absolute intractable Democratic leadership?
No, I hope he continues the daily drumbeat because he's on the right side of the issue. It's stunning to me how the Democrats have moved from a position that they used to hold in terms of border security. I think America sees the hypocrisy of it. Pelosi and Schumer have painted themselves into a corner. The president's on the side of the Border Patrol. He's on the side of the federal workers. And
he's on the side of the American people. I mean, first and foremost.
That's right. And I don't want to see... And I don't want to see a distraction with declaring a national emergency. Now, again, I think he's justified. I think he has the legal apparatus in order to do it. He may do that sooner rather than later. But I think he just needs to continue to make the case to the American people. And every time a Democrat says, oh, well, I can beat that wall with a ladder, then say, well, go ahead. Let's see you do it. Let's actually see you. Let's see one member of the House or Senate actually scale that wall with a ladder. I dare him.
I'd like to see them trying to climb up 30 feet. And I would also like to be in charge of what would be along the top of that barrier when they go up there. But in all seriousness here, you said that you would prefer, you implied at least you would prefer he not declare a national emergency. I think it's the only way forward here. Otherwise, there's not going to be a solution. There's no sense protracting this any longer than necessary. And when he declares a national emergency, it's within his power to actually get that wall constructed. And by the way, when you say national emergency here, remember, President Obama declared national emergencies 12 times for everything from, Somalia to swine flu, for crying out loud.
Look, the case is stronger to actually do it. I think the president has the legal impetus to do it. But when things continue to get tougher and tougher, you saw the congressman from Minnesota who's in charge of the Agricultural Committee saying he's getting about 75 calls to his office in favor of the wall and only 5 or 6 in opposition to the wall. Those Democrats need to continue to hear that in order to actually win this debate. And I think coming up until at the end of the month, I think it's the 29th of January, the State of the Union, Democrats are going to want to have this closed up because they're not going to want to sit there for an hour and a half or 2 hours and listen to the president address the nation and make the case again for the wall.
The president has the ability to do this. I don't think there shouldn't be too much legal question. That doesn't mean that the Democrats won't challenge and try to obstruct as they have throughout his presidency. But I really believe that the way forward here is for him to declare a national emergency and simply sweep aside the recalcitrant left in this country. They have obstructed, resisted, and subverted for far too long. The American people don't need to put up with this, and the president needs to find a way forward here where he can deliver on this promise in advance of the 2020 presidential election, because that means he will have fulfilled all of his major promises to the American people from the 2016 election. I think it's critically important.
I think the president will prevail. If he does it tonight or tomorrow or whatever it is, I will wholeheartedly support him. I do think they need to continue the daily drumbeat and make the case rather than have everybody say, oh, well, it's tied up in the courts and, in the coming months, we'll go ahead and see what happens. I don't want to give the Democrats that excuse. I want them to daily be able to tell the American people they are not in favor of border security. And if Nancy Pelosi thinks that wall is so immoral, then introduce a bill to get rid of the 600 miles of border wall that we currently have. They won't do that because it's just totally irresponsible.
Well, irresponsible is a perfectly good modifier for radical Dems. Jason Chaffetz, thanks so much for being with us. Appreciate it. Good to see you.
Thanks, Lou.